Well, we're off and running on the Krug Show. Been a busy day already, and we're going to talk a little Niner football here. Of course, we're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out in Emeryville and Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. We're also brought to you by Marin Auto Glass, Underdog Fantasy, and Sharp Corner Sports Cards and Collectibles. And joining us today on the show is Sione Vaki, the former Utah Ute. And Sione's getting ready for a big weekend, and he's with us on the Krug Show. Sione, how are you, man? How's things?
I'm doing good. I'm doing well, man. Just touched down back at home in Utah. So, yeah, excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Well, thanks for coming on. Let's talk about your story. Tell us a little bit about yourself. You grew up in Antioch. You're a Bay Area kid.
Sir, I grew up. I'm the youngest of 11.
Of 11. Wow.
Yeah, yeah. I'm the youngest of 11. I have 6 sisters, 4 brothers. Mother was a caregiver. Father was a construction worker, and so yeah, we all lived in the same roof. Kind of growing up. So I mean, you guys can do the math on that. We had 3 bedrooms. So yeah, we were jam packed, but it kept us close for sure.
What is it like to? I mean, I'm one of 4 kids. I have 4 kids of my own now, and I kind of think of that as a big family. But what's it like growing up in a family of 11 kids, 13 people? I mean, you guys must be really, really tight.
Yeah, no, we're really close. I would just say the biggest thing growing up was like, we weren't the most fortunate kids, but I definitely felt like when we were together that, man, we had everything in the world that we need. So shout out to our parents for keeping us close.
And now, where'd you go to school? Did you go to school in Antioch?
Yeah, so my first 2 years, I went to school for Antioch, blocked for Najee Harris, and then
Okay.
and then I moved to Liberty, which is 30 minutes, low in the suburbs, Liberty, Brentwood, California, where I finished my high school football there.
My son played for Northgate, and I think I remember Antioch coming to Northgate and beating Northgate, and Najee, I'm good friends with Doug Hendrickson, Najee's agent, and I've had
Right.
Najee on the show a bunch of times. I love Najee. I mean, I think Najee's one of the best people I've ever met. What he did on draft day, Sione, as far as giving back to, instead of having a big fancy draft party somewhere, he did it at the Boys and Girls Club that
Right.
that he grew up in. And I just thought that was so cool. And it's like just getting to know Najee a little bit. I mean, what a salt of the earth human being he is, man.
Oh, for sure. Najee Harris, man, he was someone that he embodied service, like serving others. I mean, even though that guy was in the gym 24/7, the coaches had to kick him out of the weight room sometimes. I mean, he was always about serving the people around him and uplifting his community. So that's something you even see now in the league where he's always giving back.
How did you wind up at Utah? I love that program. The one thing I'll say about the Utes, they don't beat themselves. If you want to beat Utah, you got to go beat them. They will not beat themselves. What coach has established there, I think it's one of the great programs in the country. Um, Tell me how you wound up there.
Yeah, so I was preparing after I had finished my high school career. I was preparing to go on a 2-year mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And at the time, I had a home visit before I had entered the mission field with the coaches. It was Coach Galley, it was Powell. Coach Swan was there. Coach Swan, it was actually his first home visit ever coming to my home. And so something that they talked about during that time was just was like the gospel and faith and things like that. And so just being able to relate to them on a different level other than just talking football was a big feel for me because at that time you could say I was on like a spiritual high, just getting ready to serve the Lord.
That's really cool that your faith is a big part of your life. Am I saying that correctly? That
Sir?
you grew up as a man of faith and that it's a big part of your existence?
Yes, sir. Mom always taught us, as well as our father, that God always comes first, and everything else will be put into place. So definitely, faith comes number one.
Who introduced you to football, by the way? Did dad play or did you have brothers that played? I mean, or what age did you start playing?
So my introduction to football was kind of like a rude awakening because At first, I had played for the Grand Junior Pacers, and then later on, I had played for the Wolfpack down in Antioch. And when I first started around, I believe when I was 5 or 6, I remember just getting bulldozed in one of the drills, and I never wanted to play again. And so that was kind of my introduction as I was a Grand Junior Pacer, just getting ran over and not wanting to do it. Just wasn't the physical being at that time. And so definitely took some time to be able to get used to the pads.
What's it like playing at Utah when that place is rocking and rolling? And man, I loved watching you guys over the last couple of years. Cam Rising is one of my favorite quarterbacks, and it just seemed like, man, there were some days there where, man, that's a tough place to play. I mean, that's a major home field advantage there.
Yeah, for sure. Coach Whittingham, he runs a tight ship. That guy is old school to the max. I mean, you're talking about if we're getting like if we're feeling like we're a little tired and things like that, he's gonna add more reps to the situation. And so definitely everyone had to buy in. When you're in the locker room, everyone's so tight knit because we understand that, man. It's only we got each other and we got to get through these days. We understand that these coaches are going to put us in the best position possible, and so we just got to go out there and work.
Yeah, Coach Whittingham is a. I mean, he looks pretty yoked up, man. He looks like he could get in the weight room and maybe do 10 or 12 reps at 225. I mean, he's pretty yoked for a college football coach.
Oh, definitely. Every time before special teams meetings, before specialists, he's always coming in with his, cut off sleeve. He's just sweating, and he just got done working out. So yeah, he definitely could go for sure.
Yeah, he seems like a guy who could throw those weights around. Well, let's talk about you and your career, because you're a guy that really excels in all three phases of the game: offense, defense, and special teams. I saw you play running back, and you look real instinctive as a running back. And then I thought your play this year at safety was outstanding. Describe kind of the evolution of Sione Vaki as a college football player, and when you started playing safety.
Yeah, so I didn't know anything about safety or defense until I got under Coach Scally and under the University of Utah. Definitely coming there, Coach Scally has developed my game to the max, for sure. So I credit a lot of my work and a lot of the things I do on the field to Coach Scally because he's a man of detail, and he's going to coach you up in every aspect of the game. But I definitely started with special teams. In high school, I wasn't that big on special teams. Special teams was just kind of on the back burner. And come to college as well as going to the NFL is something that everyone harps on. Is what's going to make the biggest difference. And so that's something that I try to make my stamp on my name on special teams, in which fortunately I was able to gain the trust of some of the captains on the team, and later on throughout the season, I was able to receive their trust in putting me and starting my first game for the Utes against Washington State.
So what do you consider yourself better at? I mean, I thought you were a pretty natural runner, but then watching you play safety, a lot of new safeties take bad angles, and bad angles at safety is could cost you the game.
Right.
It seems you seem pretty natural at safety. Do you feel comfortable at safety?
Oh, definitely do feel a lot comfortable at safety, and just it helps when you have the defensive coordinator in your room. You're not just learning your position; you're learning the entire field. All 11 positions on the field, whether it's D line, linebackers, corners. You kind of have an understanding of where everyone's supposed to be and everyone's jobs and assignments. So in that aspect, it helped me to be able to play faster. But what comes more naturally, I would say, offense growing up was it was always 7-on-7 camps. It was always I played slot receiver in high school, and that's where I kind of made my money. I mean, the recruiting YouTube video that they put up for Utah, it was Coach Scally. He was talking over it, talking about being a defensive player, and it was all my slot receiver film. So it kind of threw me off. I thought I was going to Utah to play offense, but definitely glad that I fell under Coach Scally in his safeties room.
Sione, I feel old because you say Coach Scally. I remember him as a player.
Right.
And he was a hell of a player. I mean, he was a really good player in his own right. What are you hearing from NFL teams? Are there teams that want you as a running back, or teams that want you as a safety? I mean, what are you hearing from from the teams around the league that you've talked to?
Yeah, before pro day, most of the calls, most of the interest that I got was definitely on the defense side of the ball. But after pro day, it's been about running back coach after running back coach. So I honestly don't know. I honestly don't know what teams are looking at. But I'll be happy to play anywhere.
Absolutely. That's the right answer, right? I'll play wherever you want me. What are your best times? So what are your, as far as your workout numbers? Did you go somewhere at the end of the college football season to kind of train for the pre-draft and try to get better at some of the drills, the things that, the 40, the 10-yard split, the bench? Did you go somewhere after the season to train?
Yes. So I worked under a trainer. He's called Dr. Skylar Main
Mm-hmm.
in performance. He's stationed at BYU. I got a little hate from this, but I wasn't trying to transfer to BYU or do anything. It's just that's where he was stationed at the time, and that's where we had kind of worked out. I also worked out with Paula Fitness as well, as far as footwork and IQ. So those are the two training studies.
What's your best 40 so far, Sione? What's the best number you've been able to put up?
I believe at the pro day it was 4.50.
There you go.
4.50. So that's from the combine it was 4.62. Had to bump that up for sure. So came pro day, we were ready.
What was the experience like at the combine? I mean, did you, a lot of times people talk about, or players talk about, hey, the interviews, the medical's very important to the teams. The drills are important, but then the meetings sometimes with the teams can be equally important. How was the experience for you?
I mean, everything was surreal. I remember growing up and we were working out in a little city sports down in Oakley. And we just remember working out and we were just watching the draft up on the TV. And we just thought, it would be so cool to be able to make it to that point. And right now, like, we didn't have no offers, anything, but definitely it came full circle. And being able to just lay there and soak everything in, from the medicals to the interviews, as well as just being on the field, stretching, getting ready to, be part of the combine, was just a dream come true for sure.
Now, you're an Antioch kid. Is it safe to say you grew up a Niner fan, or who was your team growing up?
Oh, bang, bang, Empire all the way. That's it.
Nice.
Sir.
Well, and have you had a chance to meet? I mean, you met with the Niners. The Niners obviously have the great Jesse Sapolu, who's a personal friend of mine and one of my favorite guys. Have you had a chance to meet Jesse or maybe Talanoa Hufanga or any of the Niner players?
Yeah, so I got to meet Talanoa Hufanga first time in person. I didn't really get to meet Fred Warner, but I dapped him up a little bit. There's a little rival, there's a little tension. I can feel it just because
because he went to BYU. That's right.
So there's just natural tension there, but definitely getting to talk with Talanoa Hufanga at that time was super helpful, super impactful, because he was kind of telling me the ins and outs. Couldn't tell me all their secrets, but he definitely helped me out while I was there.
He's such a great dude. I mean, I always say this and it's kind of corny, but Talanoa Hufanga is the kind of guy you'd want your daughter to marry. You know what I mean? He's solid. He also probably is a man of faith, and he's a big family guy. Sure. And he's the guy. He's the first guy on the practice field. He's the last guy off. He works hard. When D'Amico was here, him and D'Amico would come out early and they'd work on hand placement and all kinds of, the small things that make a great football player great. What would it be like for you to be in the same secondary with a guy like Hufanga and Jair Brown and some of the guys that they have here?
I mean, all those guys are great. Definitely coming into the safeties room, or the DB's coach's room, Coach DB. He definitely talked a lot about Huff. And just like you said, being the first one there, last one out, and just his work ethic, and then being able to kind of spend that little time in the cafeteria with him talking about it, like, you could definitely see why he's had so much success at the same time. But
is there a team? Are the Niners showing interest? I mean, what teams would you say around the league, without giving it all away? I mean, who's showing an interest in you the most? Are you getting a lot of interest around the league?
I would say the most interest I've gotten is probably from the Niners, as well as maybe the Lions. Those are just the two visits that I had. So I would say those two teams.
And what are they saying to you? Are they critiquing your game? Are they telling you things to work on? Are they telling you why they feel like you'd be a good fit for their defense? What kinds of things are the teams, talking to you about? Or is it more just like, hey, Sione, tell me about your family and tell me about your, what motivates you? Is it a get to know you, or is it like this is kind of how we envision you?
Yeah, I definitely feel like it's more just get to know me, get to know the person behind the pads, someone, the person I am away from football. Because honestly, I do feel like a lot of the film speaks for itself when it comes to the questions they have about um, my ability on the football field. But yeah, definitely just I don't know, just getting to know me outside of football, getting to understand who I am as a person, my morals, my standards, and then but I definitely understand that I have a lot to improve on, and the coaches, they're there to keep it real with me, so they definitely do that as well.
What round do you have any idea of what round you may go in? What are you hearing? I know it's a tough thing because all you need is one team to think you're a fourth round pick, and you're a
Right,
fourth round pick. It's not necessarily about consensus. It's really just about who falls in love with the prospect or who sees the vision. I mean, if
right.
that's really it, like, do you see the vision of what Sione Vaki can do in our defense in over the next 3 to 5 years? Do you
Right.
have an idea of what range you may fall in this draft?
Man, no. To be honest, I honestly don't. I feel like maybe third day, falling into that third day, maybe some one of the later rounds. But yeah, as far as like a set, round of where I feel like most of the coaches are kind of aiming towards, I honestly don't know. I wish I could have been in their draft rooms, but I honestly don't know.
That's all right. I mean, and sometimes you get a sense of it, sometimes you don't. What is your strength as let's talk about you as a safety, first of all, because I think that's where the Niners would probably want you. I mean, they could use you as a return man, they could use you as a backup running back. I know you're willing to do anything, but let's talk about safety. What would you say your strengths and weaknesses are as a safety?
I would say my I would say my skill set is definitely catered closer to the box, being able to take
Mhm.
off the box, and then my explosiveness off the line, and just being able to get in the backfield quick, whether they want me to blitz or just we're going through run reads and shooting that gap, and being able to make the that tackle in the backfield. I feel like I'm a matchup. You don't have to sub me out. I feel like I'm all down safety when it comes to that. So I could definitely be in some sub linebacker packages. I feel like I have the skill set ability to be able to go out and be able to be on those slots and tight ends and things like that. So honestly, I just feel like I'm a Swiss Army knife when it comes to defensive side of the ball as well as on offense.
Yeah, no, I see. That's exactly what I see as well. Let's talk about some of your teammates because I think you want to talk football. Nobody knows a player like his teammate, and you got some good ones in this, and you played with some really good players in this secondary. Let's talk about Bishop for a second. What kind of player do you think Cole Bishop is, and what have you been able to kind of learn from him playing next to him?
Um, Coming in first, when I first came in my freshman year, Cole Bishop was at the time as well as RJ Hubert, Kamoy Latu. But Cole Bishop was definitely one of the vets. He knew exactly what Coach Scally wanted to do. He knew the defenses like the back of his hand, and he's someone that I really came under and trying to learn under because he was just doing everything right. When it came to practice, the coaches understood that they could trust him, and like he wasn't getting yelled at. Not saying he was getting coached, but he just wasn't getting yelled at as much as I was. So I definitely took a lot from his game.
Yeah, he's a hell of a player. Another guy that I really like, and I know he's kind of a late round guy, but Miles Battle. I mean, we're talking about a 6'4" corner who can really move and cover. Tell us a little bit about him. I mean, I think he might be I think you and him are two of the bigger sleepers in this draft. Nobody's talking about Miles Battle, but I think he's going to be an NFL corner.
Oh yeah, he's an ideal specimen as far as when it comes to the cornerback position. And then I have a lot of respect for him coming in his last year and being able to work up to our standard. A lot of the time it's at Utah, it's you're going to become us, we're not going to become you. And so definitely giving props for coming in and taking accountability for himself and trusting the process, understanding our culture, and being able to implement that into his game. And so for him to come in and pretty much gain a starting position in our defense was a big thing. So that goes to show a lot about his work ethic and then his ability to attain a lot of knowledge in a small amount of time.
Are you training with these guys at all in the off season, or have you had any conversations with those guys? I mean, Bishop's probably going to get picked first,
Right.
but Battle and yourself are both going to play in the NFL for sure. Have you guys worked out at all together in the lead up to the draft?
No, not really. They've been, I believe they're in Florida, and I've stationed out here. So definitely been in contact with them, but haven't worked out with them yet.
One of my favorite Utah players to watch this year, and I forget his name, but the guard who's just absolutely dominating against the run. I mean, this guy's just a road grader of road graders. Do you remember he's in this draft? What's the guard's name? He's just one of the most destructive run blockers I've ever seen.
Ian Bills?
No, not Bill. Bills is good too. The other guard. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Both those guys are big and physical, but I mean, Bills is going to play in the league too. But the other guy is just monster in the run game.
Yeah, no, Satala is crazy. I believe most of his time was out at tackle this year, but definitely, I mean, him being able to play all positions on the offensive line is crazy. His ability to play at the guard I've never seen an own lineman move as explosive and as crazy like he did. I mean, his ability to get off the ball and things like that. It's definitely scary seeing Satala Mea get up to the second level as quickly as he does. So, shout out Tala for making it hard for us at practice.
Yeah, I was going to say, you practice against guys like that, it makes you a better football player. You played against Caleb and Penix.
Right.
So let's talk about those two guys and from your perspective. I mean, I personally, Sione, am a big Penix fan. I think Penix made a couple of throws in that game against you guys this year that were just ridiculous. I mean, he's off his back foot. He's throwing it to the right sideline and he's putting it out there with zip.
Yeah.
In a box that was no bigger than twice the size of the football. I mean, to me, Penix is an amazing player.
Sure.
Why don't we start there? What'd you think of Michael Penix?
Just like everything you said, I was just in awe when he was able to make those, especially, you saying he was throwing off his back foot and getting it there with zip, which is crazy because the weather that game was like
cold,
rainy. Yeah, it was cold. It was windy. And so for his balls to be as accurate as they were, throwing off his back foot and getting as much pressure as we were bringing, I mean, Penix is a heck of a ball player. And shout out all the lefties out there, man. Definitely some unique specimens.
By the way, in that game, wasn't that the game that their guy tried to down the ball at the 1 yard line? Or you thought he was going in for the end? Thought he was going to the end zone, and he literally at the 2 yard line, he spiked the ball, and you guys got down there and jumped on it. I could not believe that play.
Oh, no, definitely that brought a lot of life back to our sideline because all our jaws just dropped when we seen that. It was a walk-in pick six. And shout out to Michael Mokofisi, man, for repping that culture, not giving up on the play and being able to track that ball down, seeing that he let it go a little early and being able to jump on it, man. I mean, that was a huge lifesaver for us, too, to keep us in the game.
Man, he should have did he get the game ball for that play? I mean, that was a heads-up play by your guy.
Yeah, I mean, he should have. But given that we lost, I don't think we give out game balls.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, let's talk about Caleb. What'd you think of Caleb? I kind of think I know Caleb's going first, and I know Penix is going later. I kind of like Penix a little bit more than Caleb. Give me your thoughts on Caleb. Is he better than Penix, or are they close? I mean, how would you evaluate the two of them?
Yeah, I feel like definitely both of them have a great game. I definitely feel like Caleb he's just more mobile than Michael Penix, but I mean their ability to be accurate down the field is still crazy. I mean, playing against Caleb Williams was not an easy game just to try and keep him in the pocket, and then some of the throws that he does, the angles of where he's throwing is crazy. So who's better? I honestly don't know. I hated playing against both of them. So, so yeah, just two great football players for sure.
Who's been the toughest cover that you've had in college football? Is there a receiver or tight end out there that you said, like, I really like the kid McLaughlin from Arizona.
Right,
I think he's a hell of a player. I kind of like Brendan Rice, Jerry's kid. He's got the
right.
great Niner bloodlines there. But if I say toughest cover in your college career, who comes to mind?
Oh man, who comes to mind is, I would say, the first time I played slot against Oregon. His name was Chris Hudson, I believe it was.
Okay.
Number one slot
Okay.
receiver. And yeah, he gave me some crazy work. You guys want to go watch that? He gave me some crazy work. And I was taken out by the end of second quarter just because I was getting in my head, you know, big moment at that time, freshman just starting. Coming my second game, I believe, or third game was, yeah, it was some hostile environment over there in Eugene. So yeah, shout out Chris Hudson for giving me that work.
Let's get to know you, Sione. Well, I'll ask you a few questions about yourself, and we'll take it from there. When you're not playing football and you're not working out and you're not watching film, what are your interests? What are your hobbies? What are you into? Can you hear me?
Sorry, Larry, you kind of
Oh no,
froze
I
up.
was I was saying when you're not playing ball, what are your hobbies? What are your interests?
Um, I love to be with family. I love spending time with my family, my nieces and nephews. I got 16 nieces and nephews, so
Wow.
yeah, trying to take them out and just be an example, being someone that's there for them, and then just for them to kind of see what, if you're able to put in the work, what things you can bring not only to yourself but to those around you. And
Sounds good.
I'm
Oh, go
also a
ahead.
game game freak. I like to play Call of Duty. Um,
Nice.
yeah, so yeah, that's pretty much what I do.
So how old are you?
22.
22, yeah. So my son goes to Cal Poly. He's 23. You sound like a typical college kid, loving the video games. All right, what about food? What's your do you have a favorite dinner? If you're coming home and they say, hey, Sione's coming, make him his favorite meal. What's your
Yep.
favorite meal?
They're going to be making chicken Alfredo with cheese bread. I'm a big pasta guy, so
Ooh,
my go-to. So yeah, if you
big
guys get recipes,
carbs and protein.
yes, sir.
What were you going to say?
Oh, just if anyone has some good recipes, different recipes for chicken Alfredo or any pasta dish, just send them my way, please.
Do you cook for yourself as a college student there in Utah?
I buy groceries for myself. I don't know if I cook for myself though. Yeah, I haven't spent much time on the oven, on the grill, or anything. So no, I do not.
What is your favorite if you can watch one either movie, TV show? What do you like to watch? What are you into TV wise or movie wise?
Ooh, the two biggest ones that I've watched that I loved was probably Suits, which is like a lawyer show,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
the Yellowstone.
Yellowstone. Okay.
Yeah, those
Um,
are two big ones.
what is your favorite sport? Do you have a favorite team that you like to watch in any sport? Are you an NBA fan? Are you a baseball fan? Are you a NFL fan? Like if you're not watching, if you can watch any sports team out there, what's your team?
Yeah, I'm definitely watching the Niners. I'm definitely watching the Niners. Come Sunday, Thursday, Monday, whatever. Um, for NBA, I'm watching the Sacramento Kings. And
Okay,
when it comes to rugby, I'm watching the Matematonga team. So shout out Tonga.
rugby. Wow, have you
Sir.
ever played rugby?
No, so my dad wouldn't let me. He wanted to be on football. He played rugby though, and so that's something that I wanted to do. Play same sport as my dad. So, but growing up, yeah, he definitely told me to keep my head towards football.
Kings over Warriors.
Kings over Warriors, yes sir. I was born in Sacramento, but then I moved around fifth grade to Antioch, so I was raised in Antioch. But yeah, always been a Kings fan.
Yeah, no problem with that. I went to Sac State. My brother's a lawyer, judge up there. He's a big Kings fan. So, and I got a lot of my college buddies are Kings fans. Um,
Yeah,
if you make it big, or let's just say not if, when you make it big,
right.
what's the purchase? What would you love to buy if you had a lot of cash?
If I had a lot of cash,
If you
man,
made it big and suddenly you're a Pro Bowler, you're an All Pro like Talanoa Hufanga, and
right.
suddenly you get that big second contract. What would you want to buy?
Um, for myself, I definitely have a lot of things I want to buy for my family, my dad. But
Sure,
for myself, I think I'd want to buy a boat. I love,
nice
yeah, yeah. So I definitely,
sailboat, motorboat.
yeah, probably a motorboat, probably a
Yeah.
motorboat. Yeah, just I don't know, just go sit at sea and cast the line, man. Just enjoy the time.
What is the best part about being in a family of 13, and what is the worst part in being in a family of 13?
The best part is you don't have to look for any friends or enemies. They're kind of they're made in one right there. And then the worst part is being the youngest. Definitely, if someone tells the oldest to do a chore, it's definitely going to trickle all the way down to you. So just be ready to move.
I thought you were going to say hand me downs, because it's like I got three boys and a girl, and my youngest kid has like probably only had a very few clothes that he actually, had himself. Everything else was like his
Right.
brothers wore.
Oh, sheesh. Then I was spoiled. Definitely came down to chores. Shoot, I was doing everyone's chores.
How about your agent? Your agent is a guy that I had a chance to meet, and he's young in the game. How did you choose your agent? And this is kind of a interesting. I think what you say here will be interesting because there's a lot of young people in college that are going to be in your spot, and it's like they don't know the first part about how you pick an agent or how that goes. Tell us a little bit about that. How does that process work itself out?
Yeah, I would say. I mean, you definitely don't want to just choose anybody, but for me, the biggest thing is just being able to see like what kind of person they are, seeing if I could have grow a long term relationship with them, and then just loyalty and honesty is all I'm looking for. Really, is that if you like if you're gonna choose the best options out there for me, then I'm gonna try to do the same thing for you. I'm trying to get you the best options out there, and so it kind of goes hand in hand. If you're gonna work your hardest, I'm gonna do the same thing. And so when it came to Dean and Billy, I knew their resumes. They were hard workers. They got it from the ground up, and so being able to relate with them on that level is something that I know I can be able to trust them in anything that they bring me or anything that I want to bring to them.
Pre-game rituals. I asked Ray McLeod of the Niners last year. I said, "What are your pre-game rituals?" He's like, "Man, I listen to the same 50 Cent song at my locker every day or every game before the game to get me ready." Other guys, they have some ritual they go through. Do you have a pre-game ritual or anything that you do before every game?
I listen to. I like to. Man, I'm a big overthinker. So when it comes to the game, all my emotions are high. My intensity is high, and so I like to kind of mellow down before I run out that tunnel and just understand that I'm here to have fun with it. You put the work in, so just have fun. So I like to listen to Rodna. For those of you who don't know Rodna, man, she's a great listen. And yeah, her music definitely calms me down before game time, just to go out there and enjoy the moment.
Pre-game meal. What are you looking for at a pre-game meal?
Pre-game meal.
Colton McKivitz told me he likes a plate of buttered noodles and two big steaks. Now he's a big offensive lineman, so maybe they eat differently. What's your ideal pregame meal, or do you have a pregame meal superstition?
No, no, definitely don't. Oh, well, before before the day of the game, I have to have. We have this pasta station at Utah that just has to be there. It wasn't there for our Pac-12 championship game year one, and I was freaking out. I thought that my game was going to be thrown off because it's been my system all the way up to this point, and so thankfully that wasn't the case. Um, but yeah, definitely gotta have that chicken Alfredo, as I said before pregame.
All right, if you're in California and you're thinking about Utah, what do you miss about Utah? And when you're at school, what did you miss about Antioch or California?
Man, something that I missed about Antioch in California was the weather, and then the food is just unmatched. The food out there in the Bay Area is one of one. You cannot replicate it anywhere. The people make it with so much love. You can just taste it in the food, and so that's something that I definitely miss being out here. Something that I miss being in Antioch that I didn't have in Utah, or something that I miss
And
in
yeah,
Antioch.
when you're here in Utah, when you're here in the Bay, and you're thinking back, about being at Utah and living there, what's like? Give us one thing about living in Utah that you're like, man, I really dug that.
Home. I would say right now this is where my family lives, and
Okay.
so yeah, it kind of flips. So now when I'm in Antioch, I miss my family. I miss being with my family. My nieces and nephews are out here. I miss spending time with them and trying to take them out and just having fun with them, trying to be the cool uncle. So those are the times I miss for sure.
That is cool. Now, who is there? Give me one famous person that you would like to meet that you haven't met yet.
One famous person that I would like to meet that I haven't met yet.
It could be in football. It could be out of football. It could be a Niner. I mean, it sounds like you met some of the Niner players, huh?
Yeah, yes. I would say someone that I would love to meet is probably, shoot, I say the biggest one right now is probably The Rock. I think
Okay.
I think The Rock would be someone, you know, maybe take a picture with him doing the eyebrow thing. So I feel like that would be a cool picture, man. Especially meeting him, and his impact on the Polynesian culture has been amazing for us. So yeah, The Rock.
Have you ever? How about I thought maybe you'd say Troy Polamalu or something like that. I mean, now Troy Polamalu is probably before your time, actually, huh?
Yes, but yeah, no, I would say I would say I would have said Troy, but I feel like I think I'll get there. The Rock is someone that's just like, I don't know if
You
I
might
ever,
not meet him.
yeah,
Yeah.
but
How about
hopefully Troy sees me on the football field and just like, you know, wants to talk to me.
what was it like when who was it that you guys beat and everybody crashed the field? It was just a monster scene and everybody in Utah just stormed the field. Was that it was this year, wasn't it? Or was it last year with Cam? I'm trying to think who it
It was
was, but
either, it was
you
either
guys had a huge win and everybody stormed the field, and I've never seen so many people on the field at one time.
it was either we beat SC the first year when we played them at our house. Cam runs it in for that 2 point to give us the lead, and we win that game. Or it was Florida this year when we
Oh,
beat
maybe that was it. It was the kickoff class. It was the early game, right? It was in September,
Purdy. Right.
and you guys were too much for them.
Yeah.
Cam, what? Tell us about Cam Rising.
Cam,
He
Cam is,
looks like he's 35 years old.
yeah, no, he's definitely he's definitely had some time at Utah, but Cam is just a natural leader, man. Everyone loves him. Um, Everyone's attracted to his example on and off the field. And then just me coming in as a freshman, I could tell that I could see the reasons of why a lot of people follow him. He's just, I mean, before games, you could just see him in his playbook, just while everyone's eating or doing their own thing, chilling, talking about whatever. He's always focused and he's always on point, and so he's always someone that everyone knows you could trust and depend on.
Brock Purdy. Give me what do you think of Brock? And have you met Brock? Did you get a chance to meet Brock when you're out here?
No, no, but Brock is a goat for sure in my books. Shoot, I feel like, yeah, I mean, he's just an example of like, it doesn't matter where you go, when you get picked, just being ready for that moment. He's kind of like really kind of in the making of a Tom Brady version. So being the last pick of the draft, coming to the starting position and then not looking back, being able to take us twice, as far as we could go for the Niners. So I don't know. He's the GOAT in my book.
Yeah, no, he's been incredible. Last one, man, and we appreciate your time, Sione Vaki, with us on the Krug Show. Draft day. Draft day. I mean, I would imagine Saturday is going to be your day.
Right.
That would be my guess.
Right.
Where are you going to be? Where are you going to be? What are you going to do? Are you going to be hanging with the nieces and nephews, hanging with mom and dad? You got a big family deal. You're going to be in Antioch. You're going to be in Utah. Where are you going to be? What are you going to do?
I'm going to be in Utah and just Airbnb with all the family, just having a great time, enjoying the draft. And once that call, just wait for that call. That's pretty much it.
Big party?
Yeah, I would say just like a barbecue, something like that.
Nice. And you've obviously met Lynch, right? You've met Lynch and Shanahan?
Right. Oh, I met Lynch, yes.
So, I mean, Lynch was obviously, I mean, he's before your time, but Lynch was a thumper of a thumper extraordinaire. I mean, this guy would absolutely knock the crap out of you. What, do you guys have a good dialogue with John?
No, just on the visit, I was able to kind of introduce myself, and man, it was just great meeting him, watching his film, and hearing his story of coming from a quarterback position all the way to being one of the best safeties. And we talk about someone who loves to hit. That guy at that time, sheesh, I don't know how those guys did it, but yeah, shout out to Coach Lynch, man. Definitely want to emulate his game when I get there.
It's round 5. And the phone rings, and it's the Niners. And they say, Sione, we're going to make you a Niner. What's that moment going to be like for you?
Speechless, lost for words. Probably already going to have my gear on. And, just ready to go. That's it, just ready to go.
Sione, we really enjoyed having this conversation with you. We wish you nothing but luck, man. I enjoyed watching you at Utah. You put it all out there, offense, defense, special teams. You deserve a great draft day. I'd love to see the Niners grab you and bring you to San Francisco. If they do, let's talk after the draft and do this again and chop it up and talk about the training camp ahead. But man, nothing but love and respect for your game and wish you nothing but the best, man. Thanks for stopping by on the Krug Show and have a great draft, man. I mean, they say it's one of the great days in your life, right? I mean, there's only one draft day. You can talk to any NFL player. Hey, where were you on draft day? And they'll say, oh, I was at my mom's house and my dad was there and my brother was there. My high school coach was there. My college, and they'll tell you, and it's like so vivid in their mind. So it's obviously a very, very special day. Enjoy the day and great, best of luck to you in your NFL career, man.
For sure. Thank you, Larry. Thank you for having me. Shoot, and go Niners.
Go Niners. Thanks, Sione. Have a great day, man.
All right, thanks, Larry.
Take care. There you go. The great Sione Vaki from Utah. I hope the Niners grab him. That would be a great story. And they're shown interest. They've shown a lot of interest. And you know what? I think if you say what are the Niners going to get in this draft? My guess is that they're going to draft or get a running back late. They're probably going to get a receiver or two. They're probably going to get an offensive lineman or two. They're probably going to draft one defensive tackle, maybe an edge, probably a linebacker, maybe a corner. But I think if you look at the depth chart, they're probably going to draft multiple safeties. I mean, think about what the 49ers have right now. They've got Jair Brown and Talanoa Fanga. And after that, I mean, George Odom is a phenomenal special teamer, but they don't have a lot of depth there. Then you're going to Eric Harris and Taylor Hawkins and guys who are more practice squad guys. I think there's a very good high likelihood the Niners draft two safeties in this upcoming draft. And, Malik Mustafa from Wake Forest is one of my favorites. And Sione Vaki, you can see why the Niners like him as a personality type. And if you told me that Sione Vaki was a gold helmet guy for the Niners, I wouldn't be surprised at all. Why? Because they want high character guys who represent the team well, who love football, who, put the team first. They want team first guys. They want solid human beings who are team first guys and can really play. And Sione checks all those boxes. So My guess is the Niners take Sione Vaki. I'm guessing it's going to be in the 5th or maybe 6th round. If he ran in the 4.4s, I think he's probably there in round 4 or 5. In the 4.5s at 4.5 flat, I would say he's probably going to be a 5th or 6th round pick. And I would imagine the Niners are going to grab him. They've talking to him a lot, and they're showing a lot of interest. So Digital Drew in the chat said, this kid is legit. I dig him, and his tape is great. Yeah, go watch his tape and his highlights. You see a kid who as a running back looks like a natural, instinctive running back, takes the right angles. He can carry the ball. But then you look at him at safety, and you're like, wait a second. This guy looks like a natural safety. And then you think, wait a second, he's only played safety for a very short amount of time. That's impressive that he takes good angles. And then as a special teamer, as a return man, especially with the new return rules, you're probably going to want to have a few guys on the roster that you feel confident can return. So he could help them as a returner. He could help them as a depth piece at running back, and he could help them as a safety. And with, starter potential down the road. So I think he's a good fit for the 49ers. Invader 49ers says, thanks for taking the time, Mr. Vaki. We should have called him that. We should have said Mr. Vaki, because, he's I'm sure all of his friends just call him Sione. Joey Nichols said he ran 4.62. 4.62 at the combine, 4.50 at the pro day. So there you go. I really like the kid. I like doing those kinds of interviews where we get a chance to, talk to some of the prospects and ask them some questions. And you realize, you know what? This is, you're talking to kids, it's like, I've got 4 kids of my own. Kev, who you guys see on the show from time to time, is he's a senior at Cal Poly. He's 23 years old. You're talking to a guy like Sione. Sione's a redshirt sophomore. He's 22. He's a 22-year-old kid. So it definitely reminds me of talking to my own kid. But I really enjoy some of these conversations with the players, because this is what I enjoy. I like talking to the players, whether they're prospects or going into the locker room and talking to the players. And why? Because the players are the game. And oftentimes they'll give you insight into other players, into the process of pro football, what it takes to be great, what makes them tick. I think, everybody sees pro football on Sunday, but not everybody sees pro football, the process, which is the rest of the week, right? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. You're preparing to play the game. And when you get a chance to talk to the players, you can kind of get into their process and find out a lot more about the game and learn a lot more about them and how seriously they take football. The thing about it is, you think of football as a sport and it's a bunch of kids. In the NFL, guys show up with a briefcase and a laptop. You know what I mean? Yeah, they may be wearing sweats, but they're showing up with a briefcase and a laptop. I mean, they're pros, and they're watching film around the clock, and they're looking at statistical breakdowns, and they're trying to eat right and, practice their, watch cut up films of their opponents and get deep into the game plan. And it's like, the only way to be great at football is to embrace the process and to love the whole process of pro football. And not everybody does. And that's why you meet these guys. That's why you go to the combine and you want to meet some guys, because you want to find out, are they just great at football, or do they love the process at football? Do they love watching film? Do they love watching cut up film? Do they love, the studying the intricacies of the game plan? And I'll tell you, the other thing is, a lot of people be like, football players are dumb. No, they're not. They're really, really smart. And to be able to digest that many game plans and that many factors and variables in a game plan every week takes studying. You got to study it. You got to watch your film. You got to study your game plan. It's all about the details. Everything, they say life's about the fine print. It's all about the details. Mark Graves asks a question here. He says, Have you interviewed Frank Gore Jr. or Brendan Rice yet? I haven't, but I would love to. And to me, I think both. Frank Gore's kid. I've never seen a player, a running back, look more like his dad than Frank Gore looks like Frank Gore. Frank Gore Jr. looks like Frank Gore Sr. I love Frank Gore Jr. as a prospect. He had a touchdown run in the first quarter of the Shrine game where he was just shot out of a cannon. They have the exact same running style, full speed cuts, really amazing ability to cut inside and not lose any speed. To me, whoever drafts Frank Gore Jr. or signs him as an undrafted free agent is going to get themselves a real sleeper, because he has the instincts to run between the tackles just like his dad. Now, he's not quite the same size, but he runs with tremendous body lean, those full speed cuts. I think Frank Gore Jr. is going to be a real good player. Brendan Rice, I like a lot as well. I think Brendan Rice, shows urgency when he runs routes. He works back to the quarterback. He plucks the ball with his hands. A lot of the things that you see with Brendan Rice are really high-end things that are like wide receiver 5.0. I actually think Brendan Rice is one of the more polished wide receivers I've seen come into the draft in years. Now, there are bigger guys, so he's got good size. There are definitely faster guys. He runs a middling time. But as far as ready to step in and contribute, I think Brendan Rice is ready to step in and get open against NFL corners, which is saying something, because most college receiver prospects are not ready to step in against NFL corners. But this guy really does have precise movements. He's pretty smooth in and out of the break. He'll high point the ball. As I said, he'll pluck it with his hands. He doesn't try to body catch it. He plays with urgency. Like Jerry has, the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. I mean, Jerry had it all, right? Jerry had size and speed, and forget the 40 time. The guy played 4.4. He ran away from everybody, but he really did all the little things well. Getting into his breaks, out of his breaks, no wasted steps, getting his head turned the right way. All of the things that a pro receiver does that a college receiver doesn't do, Jerry did, and he clearly has passed along a lot of that to his son. So, you can see the refinement in Brendan Rice that just doesn't exist for a lot of receivers. So, I mean, he's interesting. And then Luke McCaffrey, I think there's a lot of people that think that Luke McCaffrey is going to be a Niner. I will say this about Luke McCaffrey. When you watch him on film, he doesn't really separate from the college DBs, which kind of worries me. But he only played 1 year of receiver. He's got great hands. He ran a better 40 time than Christian did. He's got good height. Another guy who plucks the ball with his hands. He played 1 year as receiver. He was a quarterback 2 years ago, and he was all conference for Rice. So he made a lot of really big catches, and I do think McCaffrey's going to go probably in the 5th round, and I think there's a very good chance. You heard John Lynch say yesterday, "Hey, I like good bloodlines," and I think there's a few guys in this draft that Lynch could go after with that in mind. Those 4 guys, and those 3 guys, plus Tariq Owens, who's Terrell Owens' son, who's very raw, didn't even play high school football until he was a sophomore, didn't really get into it until he was a senior, and played for Southeast Missouri State, I believe. I like him as a prospect. Now, he's not going to get drafted, but he's raw, but he's big and he's fast and he's intriguing. So Lynch said, "Hey, I love good bloodlines." I would imagine I could see Gore's kid being here. I could see McCaffrey's kid being here. I could see Owens's kid being here as an undrafted guy. Rice's kid, I think, is probably going to go somewhere else. That would be my guess, but I love him as a prospect. I think he's a terrific prospect. And there's another guy that you guys ought to keep an eye on that that I think is probably close, for Lynch is Lynch played with Brad Culpepper in Tampa. Brad Culpepper's son is a kid named Judge Culpepper. And he was a defensive tackle for like Western Michigan or something like that. And he's really good. I mean, the motor revs high. I could see him being either a 7th round pick or an undrafted free agent. Judge Culpepper, nice defensive tackle with a big time motor. And as I said, his daddy, Brad, played with John Lynch at Tampa. So anyway, hey, thanks to Sione Vaki, thanks to his agent, and for hooking us up. And thanks to all of you guys for supporting the Krug Show. I love these kinds of interviews. So if anybody out there knows of a guy who's eligible for the draft that would love to come on the Krug Show, we'd love to have him on and kind of talk about the process and get to know him a little bit. So one guy says, I only know Dante Culpepper. Different family. But Brad Culpepper played in the NFL, I think defensive line, and his kid, Judge Culpepper, is a nice, I think an underrated, kind of a sleeper, round 7 undrafted free agent defensive lineman in this draft. So I'm looking for that as a Niner maybe after the draft. Today, by the way, I just did a video and I want you guys to go check it out. Mike Silver wrote an article on Brandon Ayuk where he's quoting Niner sources and league sources as saying the 49ers absolutely are going to be listening to offers for Brandon Ayuk. And I've been saying this for a while, and a lot of people are like, they're not moving Ayuk. Well, they may not. But according to Silver's piece, and you can watch the video that I did on it, or you can go to Mike's, go to the Chronicle and read it, or do both. All I would say is if you're a 49er fan, tune in on Thursday night, because it sounds like, you're not only going to maybe see the Niners make a first-round draft choice, you may actually see them move Brandon Ayuk. And it may be for a first-round pick. It may be for a high second-round pick. It sounds to me like the 49ers and Ayuk are at an impasse. That Ayuk wants to be paid between $25 and $30 million. Does he want to be a Niner? Yeah, but he also wants to make between $25 and $30 million. And that the Niners probably have budgeted between $20 and $25 million. And all things being equal, they would like him to be a Niner. But it sounds like they're at an impasse. And I would think that there's a very good chance he gets dealt this weekend. Now, not rooting for it. Who would root for the 49ers to trade their best wide receiver inside their Super Bowl window? But all I would say is the people who are out there saying, oh, for sure it's not going to happen, go read Silver's piece and come back and tell me what you think. He made it seem like the 49ers are definitely going to listen to offers, want a first-round pick, but might take a second, and that you might see Ayuk moved. And maybe the Niners go receiver with one of those picks they get back, and maybe they go receiver with either Brendan Rice or Luke McCaffrey in the mid-rounds and say goodbye to Ayuk. So not rooting for it, but it definitely seems like it's a possibility. All right. Hope you guys enjoyed the Krug Show. That's going to do it for today, or later tonight. I've got a Little League baseball this afternoon with my youngest son. And then tonight, the great Raj, I believe, will be in the house tonight, and we'll talk a little more Niners with Raj later on. So hope you enjoyed Sione Vaki. Until later today, peace.
Yeah, never met a man I've been scared of. Careful, you